Hello everyone, Richard here again. Recently I did a review of the Sandisk Extreme 128 gigabyte micro SD memory card, and it turned out to be a really good product. If you haven't seen that video, take a look. I'll put a card for it up here and you can watch that. But in this video what I'm going to do is take this 128 gig micro SD memory card and configure it to run on a Raspberry Pi 3 Model V Plus inside Windows. So if you haven't seen that done, I did that with a 64 gig card and it worked just fine. And I'm going to show you how to do that with this 128 gigabyte card right now. All right, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, put them in the comment sections below the video. Also, I'll put links to all this hardware in the video description below the video as well. So a lot of you may be asking, why don't I just format the micro SD card to 128 gig and just go? Well, you can't. Inside Windows, Windows takes any drive that's external over 32 gigs and either formats it at NTFS or exFAT. It won't allow you to format it in Fat32, and you need a Fat32 partition to install Noobs or Raspbian or anything else into the Raspberry. So, the problem is we need to take 128 gig drive or micro SD card and format it Fat32. So let's go get the tools to do that. And I'm going to show you two ways. One way is with third-party tools. The other way I'll show you after that. But either way will work, and either way I believe will be a solution for whatever type of drive you want to format. So let's go with solution number one. Let's go get the software to do that. Now, number one is going to be the SD card formatter from sdcard.org. And go again, you may say, hey, I can format inside Windows. I don't need any special software to do that. Yes, that is true. But this program is built to format just SD cards. Well, actually, it'll format anything, but it's specifically made to format SD cards, and it wipes them out and makes them one whole drive every time you do it, which is a really handy thing when you have a multi-partition drive already coming back from a Raspberry Pi. So this is what I mean. I'm going to plug in my 128 gig drive that I've already configured on the Raspberry, so you can see how Windows actually handles it. And eventually, it'll come up and give me that, right? Ooh, there's problems. I format the disk, because this drive now has a Fat32 partition on it, an XT4 partition, and who knows what else. And Windows doesn't recognize it, doesn't know how to handle it, and just says, okay, well, let's format it. Well, if you format it, all it's going to do is wipe out one of the drives. It won't really fix the issue. And if we go look at it in the, I'm going to hit cancel here, in the file browser. There we go. You see that I have a boot drive and a G drive. Well, there's only one drive. It's a partitioned USB 128 gig drive. And if we right click these things to get the size on them, you see I got a 43 megabyte or 45 megabyte drive. And the USB drive G is, Windows can't even understand it. Okay, so try and format that and deal with that in Windows. That's a pain in the butt. But this SD card formatter, which we're going to go and get, I'll show you how it works to fix this problem like that. Okay, so strongly suggest getting this, and it's from sdcard.org. It's very reliable, and there's no problem with it. So just type in SD card formatter into a Google search, or you can just go to sdcard.org and go get it that way. But I find this is quicker because it takes me right to the download link. And here you can see SD memory card formatter for Windows download. So click on that. And scroll down to the bottom. You'll see that there's a licensing agreement. Accept that, and then you'll get the download. All right. So I've already downloaded this. I don't really need to do it twice, but I'll go through the process here. Put it in your download directory if you wish. Hit save. And it already exists, so you want to replace it. I'm going to say no. You say download and save it. Remember where you downloaded and saved it. And then we're going to go there and install it, right? So I'm going to say no here, just for the sake of brevity. But that's the download. We're going to go to the download directory right now. And SD card formatter is a zip file. So the next thing you need to do with that is right-click it and choose extract all. And that extracts the compressed file into a usable file. Here, you just say, go with the defaults. It'll just create a directory called SD card formatter in your download directory or wherever you downloaded it to. You hit extract and it'll do that. Extract, well, I've already done it, but I'm going to say replace the file in the destination. What the heck? It's very short and very small. Then it opens up like so. So then you have a program or a folder with a setup program. Double click it and it installs. Basically, go through the defaults on the installation. In my case, it'll say, oh, you already have it. Well, it should say. Anyways, let's see what happens next. Yeah, it says modify, repair, or remove. Yours will say install. Go through the defaults, install it, and be done with it, okay? So that's step one, is get the SD card formatter, extract it, and install it. Seriously, once you have this tool, you'll wonder how you did without it, because it's just marvelous for formatting external drives or drives at all. It'll format any drive, okay? So careful when formatting, because when you format something, you wipe it out. There's no more data left on it. So be sure you're formatting the right drive when you're formatting it, okay? So let me show you how this works. So we got the SD card formatter. We've got our 128 gig card in there, which already had Raspbian on it, on a Raspberry, but it's here. It's on the F drive. The F is the boot drive, so that's the source. And you can see this. It tells you card information, SDXC. So it knows that it's an SDXC. It knows its size. Windows doesn't know its size, but this program does. So there you go. You don't do try not to do an overwrite format because it puts a lot of wear and tear on your card. You don't need it. It's a digital solid state card. A quick format will do just fine. You can change the label to whatever you want. I'm just going to call it Noobs for now. That's what I'm going to use for the Raspbian install. So here we're just going to hit format. Done. And now we go back to our file manager and you'll notice something really neat. Why I like this program. I have Noobs, OneDrive, right? Just the way you want it. Properties. There we are. 128 gig drive. Boom. But problem, exFAT, right? So, all right, we solved one issue. Next thing we're going to do is go get a program called GUI format. And you can see it here on my desktop, but let's go get it here. So just type in GUI format, GUI format into a Google search. And the first thing that comes up is the right one, which is the RidgeCorp Daemon Co. This link right here. Okay, so find the GUI format or Fat32 format from RidgeCorp Consultants Limited. Click on that, and you'll see this page. The download link is actually the picture. So just click on the download link and choose file. Now, what I like about this is that it's a single file. It's 76 kilobytes. It's nothing. It's very small, and it runs without installing, which is a nice bonus. So save it to where you wish to save it. I'll save it to my desktop. You can save it wherever you want. It'll find the other one, okay, and it's like almost instantaneously. It comes down and installs. So or downloads. So there's GUI format. Double click it wherever you downloaded it to, and then you're going to get Windows telling you, hey, do you want to allow this app to do whatever? Okay, yes. And looks very similar to some other format program we just saw, right? Okay, but it automatically knows, it goes for the F drive, which is exFAT. Now, again, verify always what you're formatting, because if you don't, you may format the wrong thing, like a C drive or a D drive with data on it, and it will be gone, and then you're going to go, I don't know, bonkers. You'll probably go crazy. So there it is, F drive, Noobs. That's what we want, right? Right-click it, choose Properties, and it'll tell you for sure the size of it. It tells you it's exFAT. You know that's your USB thumb drive, right? Or your micro SD memory card. So let's get started on this. Okay. All data will be lost. I hit OK. I thought I hit OK. There we go. Uh-oh. Got a problem with it. All right. So, again, this happened to me last time. And this is why I use the SD card formatter, because look what happens. Here's what you do. You're going to close this off. Use the SD card formatter one more time. Okay. Quick format. Fine. It's going to do F. Fine. We know it's 128 gigs. Yes. There. All right. So let's do GUI format again. And again, we've got this same exact setup. Go with the defaults. Don't change anything and click start. It will be lost. Okay. And it works the second time. So something in the format wasn't quite right. SD card formatter fixed it. And now GUI format has formatted that card as 127 gigs, Fat32, and it's called Noobs. Okay, so you can verify that easily by going down here and looking at the drive, right-click it, and hit Properties on it. And you can see that even Windows says, oh, it's a USB drive with Fat32. Well, it's not really a USB drive, it's an XDSC drive, but it doesn't matter. There it is, Fat32, all one size, right? So next thing you're going to need, of course, is the installation program for the Raspberry Pi. So we're going to go get that. And that's called Noobs. So just do a Google search for Noobs, and then it'll go right to it. Download Noobs for Raspberry Pi. There we go. Several versions. There's a light version, and there's a full version. Current version is 3.00, 3.0.0. And this updates all the time, so in the future in the video there'll be a newer one available. So just choose what's there, and you have a choice of download torrent or the zip. I am going to choose the zip. I don't want to go through a torrent program, so just download the zip. Again, this is a zip file, so you'll have to extract it as well. So save this file, and it's a large file. It's like, I think, 1.6 gigs. I've already got it downloaded, so I really don't need to download it again, but let's go through the process anyways. You'll see it in, it's in my Raspberry Pi, that Raspberry Pi folder. You see that I have several versions, 8.1, 8.2, and 3 now. And so, again, download it. It's a huge file, 1.6 gigs, so I'm not going to do it here. Just download it to where you want. Once you've got it, then we're going to go handle it, okay? So I'm going to pretend that you've done that. I'm going to go to that folder. And then we're going to go to Noobs or Raspberry Pi where I put it under Noobs, which is the zip file would be here. So right click it and then choose extract all. And it will try and extract it exactly where I have already extracted it. So just click extract. And I'll actually put it on a different directory. But I'm going to, okay, there it is. It's in the right place. So I'm going to just say skip these files to make it faster. And boom. Okay? So if we go back here, we'll see that we have a Noobs directory, 3.3, 3.00, and all this information. Now, you could extract straight to the 128 gig drive if you wanted to. I like having a copy on here, and so I find it's quicker anyways. So open up that folder, so wherever you put that, open it up, do a Control-A, which is Control on your keyboard and the letter A, or Select All. I guess you could right-click it and choose Select All. No, you don't get that option. So you do Control-A here, and we're going to do Control-C, or right-click and copy. All right? Same thing. And we'll go back to the to the Noobs 128 gig drive, and then just hit paste. Now, this whole thing's going to dump all this data into the drive. Now, the other thing I will show you, but I'll show you the other way to do this without having to use the Fat32 format program, the GUI format program. And the installation will go the same way either way. So there's the one way. Okay, so now when this is done extracting or copying this data into this drive, this formatted 128 gig drive, here we go, properties, is ready to install the operating system Raspbian on a Raspberry 3 Model B+. So at this point, that's finished. It's done. You just take it out, put it in your Raspberry Pi, boot it, and go through the installation program. So that's one way to do this. Okay. The second way I'm going to show you now, and then we're going to install it in the Raspberry, and I'll show you how that works just as well, is to basically use the Windows tools to do that. And I'll show you how to do that. So first thing we need to do is, well, we need a blank, a formatted 128 gig micro SD card as Windows would do it. So let's go format this. Okay, and it's going to keep the label and it's going to change it to exFAT because you don't have a choice. It's either exFAT or NTFS, right? So I'm going to hit start on that. Hit OK. All right, so now that's formatted, and if I close it, we can see it right here, Noobs, empty drive, formatted, perfect, right? So how do we turn this into a Fat32 drive without any tools? Well, here's the trick, okay? So right-click the Windows icon, and we're going to go to Disk Management. So click on that, and then you see your drives, right? And you see here the removable 128 gig micro SD from Sandisk, the Extreme. What you want to do here is we're going to delete the exFAT partition. So right-click it and choose Delete Volume. Now remember, be sure you're deleting the right volume. I know I am. Gone. All the data on that drive is done now. So the trick here is you need a Fat32 partition for Noobs, for the Raspberry Pi to see Noobs and actually install from it. So we need to create a Fat32 partition on this drive. Well, let's do that. So right-click it, New Simple Volume. We'll go through the steps here, and it asks you, this is the trick here, it asks you simple volume and size, right? And it's going to try and use the whole drive by default, right? You don't want to do that. What you want to do is create a smaller than 32 gig drive, in this option. And I'll show you why here in a second. A 10 gig will be just fine, which in our case would be 10,000. So that's 10 gig. So let's go to 10,000, right? And assign a letter E, fine. And then you see you have all these options. Well, you don't want NTFS. We want Fat32. And because Windows knows you're making a drive that's smaller than 32 gigs, it gives you the option to do Fat32. Now, a 10 gig Fat32 drive, you might say, well, I want to use the whole 128 gig card. You can. It's not a problem. The Raspberry Pi never uses the full Fat32 format anyway. It uses a smaller partition. And a 10 gig partition will not be there when we're done. And I'll show you that after we install it. But right now, we're just going to make a 10 gig Fat32 partition on that drive. So let's do that and hit finish. That's the rundown there. And then you can see, boom, 9.77 gigabytes and 109 left over. No problem. Don't worry about the 109. You'll see why when we're done. I'll let this finish up. It says healthy partition, Fat32. And if you look in the file browser right now, you should see a new volume. There it is. You can rename it if you wish. But properties of that drive now are 10 gigs Fat32, right? Because it's less than 32 gigs. So there we go. We've got a Fat32 formatted 128 gig card. Don't worry about that. Let's go to the downloads at this point. I put it in the downloads. Under Raspberry Pi, go to the Noobs directory. And here you can do a Control-A, copy it all, or you can extract to the card if you wish, straight from the zip file. I like doing it this way. I think it's faster. So Control-A, copy, and over here, just paste into the window where the volume is, and it will dump the entire thing in there. And then we're ready to, when this process is done, we're going to eject the drive and then install it in the Raspberry Pi. I'll show you how that goes, and then we'll go into the Raspberry Pi after it's configured, and I'll show you what happened to the drive. That's it, it's done. Let's eject it. So right-click it and choose Eject. There we go. It's safe to remove the hardware, close this stuff up. And let's take that card, insert it into the Raspberry Pi, boot that up, and I'll show you how that works through the process of installing and then booting into the desktop so you can see Raspbian on that Raspberry Pi 3 model version B+. Again, I'll put links for all this stuff in the video description below for you. comments, suggestions, questions, you know that, put that in the comment section. I'm happy to answer and see what you say to me. So here we have the boot process. You can see it's resizing the partition. And first thing I want you to notice here on the installation is the available space. Even though we only formatted 10 gigs, if you look down here, you'll see it says available 120, 130 megabytes. That's 120 gigs. So the operating system already sees the whole drive. It's ready to go. So regardless of the fact that we only formatted 10 gigs, it's ready to use the whole thing. So I'm going to hit install for the full Raspbian here and hit install. And I'll spare you the configuration and all that. I'll show you the finished product on the desktop. If you want to see the full installation, I do have a video where I take it from taking the Raspberry Pi out of the box to the full desktop running perfectly configured. And you can watch that. I'll put a card up for that in the top. But you don't need to know all that for this installation. I'm just showing you how this works with the 128 gig Extreme micro SD card from Sandisk. So let's go. I'm going to hit install here and we'll pick it up when we get to the desktop. Okay, here we are at the desktop. I've configured the whole Raspbian environment. As you can see, it's on the desktop, no problem at all. And I'm using the 128 gig micro SD card from Sandisk, the Extreme version. Now, if you want to know how to configure all of this, and from top to bottom, I do have a video for that. It'll be on a card up here somewhere, and you can watch that and see how I configured this to look like this all the way through. But here we're only interested in the 128 gig micro SD card. So let's go see. I'm going to open up a terminal window here and type in a simple command which will show us how much of the drive is being used. And the command is called df, so David, Frank, space, hyphen, and H. And then just hit enter. And that shows you how much space is being used on your, how much free space there is on your drive. And as you can see, it tells you everything about it. So you can see here that I have a root drive of 116 gigabytes. So that's a whole 128 actually broken down. 4.5 gigs is used, and I got 105 gigs free. So 5% of the drive is used basically. The rest is used by the operating system. As you can see, it's all broken down there. So, you can see there all the different parameters, all the different drives and how much space they're using. That's how you check. So it's df space hyphen H, enter, and then you get this. Now, another way to check it is to install a really nice program called Gparted. So we're going to do that. I'll show you how to do that. Type in sudo, which is sudo, which is the super user account basically. And here you're going to type, or administrator, here you're going to type in apt, hyphen again, get, install, and then Gparted, so Gparted, and then just hit enter. And it will ask you for your password. I've already put mine in, but it will ask you for your password. Just put your password in and go. And it installs the Gparted package. Now, once Gparted is installed, I'll show you how to use it and why I installed it, so you can see it's more or less a graphical software for formatting hard drives and looking at your partition. So here at this point, you could either type in sudo Gparted at the terminal window, so sudo Gparted, and then hit enter, or you could come up here to the Raspberry icon, preferences, and you'll see Gparted under preferences as well. So choose one or the other. I'm gonna choose the Gparted on the menu, and it asks you for the password. So I'm just gonna put mine in here. Enter, and bingo, there's Gparted. And it's, like I said, it's a partitioning formatting software, really powerful, really cool, and graphical, so you can see what's really going on. And if you can see here that I got a Fat32 recovery partition, and it is being used. It's used 1.65 gigs of the drive. The rest is being used by the operating system. So you can see how nice this program is in showing you what to do. Not only that, this program will allow you to format other drives, do whatever you want with them, resize them, all sorts of stuff. Really cool. I would recommend installing this in any Linux operating system you're running. But here on the Raspbian Raspberry Pi 3, the model version B plus, it works great as well. So another little trick for you guys. So in case you weren't aware of it, this tool is a must-have, really. Okay, so basically there you go. There's a whole 128 gig micro SD card from Sandisk, the extreme version, running on a Raspberry Pi 3 Model B Plus with the Raspbian desktop environment. That's it for my video on using the Sandisk Extreme 128 gigabyte micro SD memory card with the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B Plus. If you like this video and it helped you out in some way, do me a huge favor. Click on the like button in the bottom corner over here and give me a big thumbs up. That helps my channel, that helps my video, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, in the comments section below, if you have questions or comments or suggestions, I look at them frequently and respond just as much. As well, up here in the corner, you'll see a picture of me. That is a subscription link. If you click on that link, you'll be subscribed to my channel. As part of the process of subscribing to my channel, you'll see a bell icon. That is a notification bell. If you click on that, you'll be notified every time I put up a new video, and then you can watch it at your own leisure. Once again, and like always, I want to thank you for watching and for your time.